नहाने पता ना कब आई कब नहीं 11 बजे तो है देखा 11 वो तो दो माने बन के ले कोनो काफी पाती तो है नहीं
So that as it is among the women, I know there's been a bit of a setback with Jamima having to pull out, but there's a pretty good contest in the women's game as well. But what I like about the Asian Games is, you know, as a country, we are obsessed, we are focused on one sport. Their cricket is just the same medal as there is in javelin, it's the same medal as there is in swimming. And so cricket is part of a much larger village, much larger community, which is wonderful to see. But you talked about Ramesh Patiragi, used to be a cricketer, from what I read. I don't know what it is with cricket and javelin, because we've had an Indian fast bowler who used to be a javelin thrower, who then became a fast bowler, took more wickets than anyone else at the 1983 World Cup. So maybe there's a connection between javelin and cricket. First impression was that maybe you put milk in his coffee. And maybe that's upset.
I think we'll get to know, sir. Where is Murli Karthik? Sir, there you are, sir. Sir, come on.
What happened? Something happened in my absence of 20 seconds. Because you guys made me wait for half an hour.
Not 20 seconds.
Let me return the favor.
Sir, we've spoken Asian Games. We've spoken javelin. Sir has given us trivia as far as Roger Binney, sir, is concerned.
And he also knows that I'm lactose intolerant, so he asked you the question. I heard Mr. Bogley doing that.
He's there, sir. He's there.
He's there. He's there. He's there. There was a bit of sunshine behind him. There's again a bit of cloud cover. What's happening, Harshabhai, behind you?
I could turn back, but you do know that when I'm facing camera, I look like Pujara. When I turn back, I look like Karthik. So I'll turn back.
I know you still don't look like Karthik. You're still a growing boy. When you said the last time around, you said, oh, in those times when I was growing up, you're still growing.
No, but there is a lot of cloud cover around today, and because there's sea on three sides, you've got to be very careful where the clouds are coming from. I mean, yesterday we had a situation where an umpire was walking around with an umbrella. It was raining and there was bright sunshine, and we didn't know if he was carrying the umbrella for the rain or the heat. But today it's looking a little grim. It's got implications for this game, by the way. I know you want to talk about the Asian Games, but it's got implications for this game because in Gaul you're never too far away from rain, and if we get a little more stoppage, it's got implications for how India go ahead with the rest of this innings.
Yes, we're all, of course, waiting in earnestness that the game can start. Hopefully, cloud cover clears up in a while from now. Covers come off as well, and we can get a game going on day 2 of the Gaul test. But let you know as well that when you have rain like this, and you've got so much incessant rain coming in at a venue, it is the groundsman who are the real heroes of the game at that time, because they're throwing and moving left to right, everything, whatever is possible to make sure that a game comes your way as far as Gaul is concerned. And we got a lovely story from Gaul and groundsmen and how they used to rehabilitate people by making them groundsmen at that very ground.
When we talk about cricket, we talk about the runs, the big shots and the wickets. But in Gaul, there's one more thing you need to talk about, and that is rain. Because here, it isn't just a random weather prediction, it is a part of the story.
मम्मी को बुला दी है
Maybe that's what makes Gaul so special. The port on one side, the ocean on the other, test cricket in the middle, and a sky that can change the game at any moment. And when the rain around, the heroes of the match change. Suddenly, the spotlight is on the ground staff. Way before the first raindrop falls, the covers are on. When the rain stops, the covers are off. These guys are not just preparing the ground, they are racing against the weather. So yes, in the Sri Lanka versus India test, while you keep an eye on the runs and the wickets, do not forget to keep an eye on the ground stuff. Because sometimes the match isn't saved by the bat or the ball, it is saved by
Sport, right? Sometimes we focus too much on the sport, on the game, on the individual, but there's just so many stories around it as well.
I was just while I was seeing that piece of footage, I was asking Russell Arnold what the story was. It started in Colombo, apparently, at the Pisara Stadium, the old Tamil Union ground, where they used to ask the prisoners to help in on the ground staff. And that is why there were so many of those. And it's become a tradition in Sri Lanka that you have all these people, and the speed with which they run in and cover the ground is unprecedented in the world. And Pooji will know, last year at the Oval, we used to have these discussions with the groundsman there, and he came up to me, a pompous, arrogant fellow, and he came up to me and said, "Do you think we were very slow getting the covers on?" And I said, "I'm sorry, but I've seen things happening in Sri Lanka. You need to take a look at what happens in Sri Lanka to realize how slow getting the covers on." And I said, "I'm sorry, but I've seen things happening in Sri Lanka. You need to take a look at what happens in Sri Lanka to realize how slow getting the covers on." And I said, "I'm sorry, but I've seen things happening in Sri Lanka. You need to take a look at what happens in Sri Lanka to realize how slow getting the covers on." And I said, "I'm sorry, but I've seen things happening in Sri Lanka. You need to take a look at what happens in Sri Lanka to realize how slow getting the..."
Harsha, I had a good chat with him. I don't want to get into the discussions of it, but
Tell us,
yeah,
tell us a bit, sir.
that Harsha can tell.
Harsha bhai?
I seem to suggest that they were a little slow coming on, and he has this very pompous, arrogant air to him. He said, "So you thought we were late, were we?" And I said, "Yes, you were." And I mean, we had a conversation afterwards, but I don't think there's any room. The Oval is a beautiful cricket ground, and he was letting it down. It's not for us to decide. We like it when other people come to our of this, and how quickly they cover the entire ground. Now, part of you might say, why do you need to cover the entire ground? If you work on the drainage like you do in Bangalore and other places, you don't need to cover the entire ground. The water just goes underneath. But not everyone can have the facilities that you have in Bangalore. And so here, they cover the ground fully, except that it takes a little longer to then take the covers off. But they're very good at it and they're very quick.
Yes, take a look at those visuals. I mean, I was in Bengal a while back, and there was incessant rain there as well. Yep. And just how quickly they would cover, they would take it off. We tried, of course, pulling a few of those plastic sheets. I said, yeah, my gym is of no use.
Yeah, they're very heavy covers. That's exactly. I'm glad you made that point, because I played for a team, Railways, where we had to do some of these things ourselves. There were times when we have done it during practice days, and the best thing is you run in unison, because what it does is it creates a bit of that airflow and it lifts the covers up. Otherwise, just to drag it across, even if you're 10 people, it is not easy. And that's why you can see the speed at which they go. It has to be, it's like you're the right-hand marker and there are people who run along with you. And there are so many covers. Harshabha is absolutely right. When you have the facilities, then you can be a bit lackadaisical. You can walk in slow. But if you've got it can get waterlogged. Eden, they do a great job as well. Eden, again, is a sea of white.
Yeah.
When you see them during the rains, and over here too, unbelievable job. And again, it keeps coming. It can happen if you have to do it once in the day. If you're constantly taking it off, putting it on, then taking the water off, boy, it's a tough job.
And you've got to be in sync, sir, as a team.
As I said, you have to run together.
Proper sync you've got.